but Minnesota comes right back. Cousins going deep for the rookie. Justin Jefferson behind two defenders, 39-yard score, and the Vikings hand the Cowboys yet another L, 28-24. Or did they? 2 minutes to go. Cowboys, 4th and 6. Andy Dalton to Amari Cooper. That's a 10-yard gain. Drive still alive. 3rd and goal now. Dalton finds Dalton Schultz. So now the Cowboys lead 31-28. So Vikings, did you get too far ahead of yourselves? Next possession, 4th and 6. Under pressure, Cousins.
No.
Come on.
Really? Like Sean Payton, what he saw in Taysom Hill. Like, you know, he was ahead of the curve.
Cowboys get it 31-28. Here's Zeke.
You know, it was definitely a win we needed. I can't even remember how long it's been since our last win, but you know, we've been struggling. But you know, today we put it together. We played 4 quarters of good football, and we pulled it out.
Obviously, an excellent team win for us. Well, I'm just so happy for our players. You know, it's been you know, a year through a lot of ups and downs. So just so gratifying to see these men get the victory today, because they damn well earned it. That's for sure.
All right, so the Cowboys snapped that 4-game losing skid, and at 3-7, decimated with injuries, all kind of stuff happening. They're just a half game out of first in the NFC East, and very much in the thick of things in the division, which is kind of tragic to say the least. But let's go to Minnesota here for a second, because they're going to feel as if they gave this game away. What did you make of their inability to close out a Cowboy squad who'd been struggling?
Man, it's tough, especially when they've gone on a run here. You gain confidence. You have the running game, killing it in the running game, and the play-action pass starts to work for you. So this one's tough. When they watch this tape, they're going to see about 4 or 5 plays that they want to just turn the film off and not even watch the rest of it, because it all comes down to those plays. And if they make them, they win the football game, plain and simple.
But, Tim, if you're going to be a team that's trying to be on a roll and try to make a push for the playoffs, and you're facing a Cowboys squad that had lost, 5 games coming in, you've got to do something more than the Vikings did today, right?
You absolutely do. Rob's right. A lot of coaches will talk about gap plays, game-altering plays. You don't know when they're going to happen. There's only a handful of them in a game, and you need to make the play when it presents itself. Otherwise, it determines the football game, and when you go back and watch it, you end up being sick. And it's really about consistency. I mean, you see it in the highlights for Minnesota often. I mean, their ability to run the football, making plays at times defensively, big plays in the passing game. But it just seems like there are these little breakdowns in their consistency, and what that usually amounts to is looking back, exactly like Rob is talking about, looking back at something and being like, man, if it was just that play here and that play there, and this thing is totally different. And so, that's the challenge. And it's kind of a mental toughness that you need your team to have, because you don't know when that game-altering play is gonna present itself.
Yeah, you gave up 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns to a squad that's been struggling with all kinds of things. It's not how you try to get it done if, again, you're supposed to be a squad that can make that push. Thanks for hanging out with us here on SportsCenter. Michael Leaves here along with Rob Ninkovich in studio. Tim Hasselbeck joining us as well, and we're getting closer and closer to the playoffs. We keep ticking off these games, but some of this drama we're seeing feels like playoff games right now, Rob. That's what we saw in Indy between the Packers and the Colts.
Yeah, this was an exciting week of football, I'm telling you. The Packers and the Colts coming down to the end. We see it in overtime. Look, this is, at the end of the day, the Colts did a terrific job defensively at halftime. Green Bay basically scored all their 28 points in the first half. Right. Second half, 0, nothing. 3 points before the end of the game. So hats off to the Colts. They did a great job in kind of keeping that offense at bay.
We're going to show you that highlight in a moment. Colts winning it in overtime thanks to a field goal. Matter of fact, we have it right now. Let's show you what happened there in Indy. Again, a pretty good quarterback matchup with Aaron Rodgers and Phillip Rivers going at it. A little NFC-AFC matchup here. It's 31-28. Colts with the lead. Minute 15 to go. Aaron Rodgers with a long field in front of him, Tim Hasselbeck.
Yeah, listen, that's a crazy throw right there off his back foot. And it's really bad defense there. Tampa 2, and they don't run deep enough down the middle.
All right, so now it's 2nd and 10. Rodgers, come on. That throw, Rob, are you serious?
Going darts, 50 yards downfield.
The arm talent is still there. All right, so they kick the field goal. It goes to OT. They get the ball, and then here, they were just ready to get a first down, and the ball comes out. Julian Blackmon forces the fumble. DeForest Buckner comes up with the loose ball. Colts right there in field goal range. And a couple plays later, Rodrigo Blankenship on from 39 yards out. Ball game. Colts come back on the Packers to win it 34-31. Rivers had 3 touchdowns, and he threw a pick. And check out the largest blown leads the Packers have had with Aaron Rodgers as the starting quarterback. This one, wow, this one's going to hurt. This one's going to hurt for a while. Up 14 on the road, but they can't get it done. Tim, bring in this conversation because you're down 21-7, you're the Colts, but you got Phillip Rivers there. You know, he's seen pretty much everything the NFL can throw at him, but to take his team sort of by the collar and force them to go down and tie the game, take the lead, what do you say about his performance?
Well, it's impressive, especially when you look at, that's now a 7-win football team. And so, the decision to sign Phillip Rivers is looking pretty good right now. And look, I think when you look at this game, there's a lot to digest from it because there are moments, like you saw in the highlight, where Aaron Rodgers is amazing. But then you have other plays in that game where he fumbles a quarterback exchange, and there's moments in that football game, as Rob was alluding to, in terms of what the second half looked like, a fumble on special teams, the inability to get a stop defensively. And so Green Bay, that, at times has looked amazing, but yeah, I think the Colts had a pretty good recipe in the second half.
Well, that's a good question to consider here, Rob, because you look at where Green Bay was in terms of being up by 14, but how much of that has to do with what the Packers were not doing versus what the Colts were forcing them to do?
Well, I think in the first half, you saw the Colts really, they didn't know how to play. You look at the defense, they were kind of just spot dropping. Aaron Rodgers was just throwing the ball all over the place. 3 touchdowns in the first half.
Right.
And then in the second half, it was like just a tale of 2 teams. The second half, they come out, defense tightens up a little bit more pressure on the quarterback, forcing fumbles in special teams. That always helps. When you can force a turnover on special teams, Cassius Marsh call out here, he forced that fumble.
Yep.
And hats off to Frank Ross, who took over for Bubba Ventrone, the special teams coordinator, went down right before this game with a positive COVID test. So Frank Ross steps in. Special teams plays great, and they were able to win this football game through special teams, playing physical up front on defensively. And you look at Rodgers at the end, he had a chance, but they weren't able to get it done. They turned it over, and the Indianapolis was able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, Tim, what do you make of the Packers' offense considering where it started and where it ended up, especially there in the second half?
Well, they lost opportunities. I am surprised that Aaron Jones, only had 10 carries in this football game. I don't think that's really the recipe that Green Bay wants to win with. I just think there were elements of this for Green Bay that didn't play well enough to win. I mean, this is pro football. Fumbling a quarterback exchange at this point in the season is kind of, unacceptable. And then, Aaron Rodgers turns this one over. He's cover 2, doesn't throw the ball deep enough. And then late in the football game, you get an opportunity to kind of have the ball on the perimeter with blockers. Julian Blackmon does make a great play, but if you're Marquez Valdez-Scantling, you can't turn the football over in that situation. Overtime, the way it's set up, obviously giving it up there, field goal wins the football game. So there just were elements with that. And, look, we want to give credit to the Colts for causing a turnover on special teams, causing a turnover late in the game. There is elements that if you are, a Super Bowl aspiring team like the Packers are, some of those mistakes, are also on you, just in terms of ball security and in terms of how you protect it to give yourself a chance to win.
Yeah, big comeback, though, for the Colts, down 14 to get to 7-3. Clearly a good outcome for them and their fans. Dan Graziano, new on SportsCenter, caught with Jonathan Taylor after the game.
Here with Colts running back Jonathan Taylor, you guys are down 14 points at the half. You come back and win in overtime. What was said by the coaches to you guys at halftime?
Really, one of the biggest things was we've been down here before. We've been in this situation before. We knew we had to come out. We had to come out strong. Offense, defense, special teams. We got to make the plays that we know we can make.
We've been told you don't know from one week to the next which running back's going to have the big game. What was the key for you getting going today for 90 yards?
One of the biggest things was when we got the opportunities, we had to take it. I mean, this is the team. You're going against a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. You got to make sure you capitalize on the opportunities to keep him off of the field.
What do you say about your defense? Came this close to holding the Packers scoreless in the second half until right there at the very end.
I think it's a testament to the players that we have, the leadership. you got a guy like 53 on your team that can really juice you up and juice the entire team up. You just want to play for one another. And, you know, I'm glad that it's our defense that's on my team, and I don't have to go against them.
Another big one next week. Tennessee won today. They're coming in. Battle for first place. How are you guys feeling about that?